A pleasure to meet you all at last, and welcome back to my channel once again. Because today, it is March 12th of 2020, and I gotta tell you, there are gonna be a lot of things that I'm gonna be busy with today. Hot Wheels Hilarity Season 4 will be beginning today. But luckily, it'll be a 3-part episode, so I won't have to worry too much about it. And do in fact plan on stretching it out all the way towards September, so that'll be another 6 months of time that I got to put in 30 episodes that I had originally planned. But today, I'm coming back with another little unofficial podiatry related vlog of mine, because I simply want to compare a few different types of footwear and show everyone the big problem with the aesthetic, the design, and fashion of today's society that happens to come together on a daily basis. And most of the time, whenever we see certain people wearing certain types of footwear out there, then of course it's all dependable on what preference they happen to have, as well as what kind of affordability that they got, and not to mention where they can find it. Typically, natural foot gear related products like these Lems and these Vibrams, you can find them online, but it's not very common to find them out in public or in local places out there. Although, I happen to find a bit of an exception. A chain of natural foot gear related dealers out there, known as Performance Running Outfitters, happens to sell a few different types of natural foot gear related shoes, including Altras, as well as a few others like Brooks and Saucony. But in general, I'd say stick with the Altras. They are the only ones out there that truly adapt to the natural foot gear related constitution of foot healthy products, which does include the 3 basic factors: a flat plane that does not allow heel elevation or toe spring, a super flexible sole which will allow for great ground feel and incredible amounts of flexibility, as well as a wide toe box, which is going to allow natural toe splay to become apparent in your everyday lifestyle. Now, of course I brought a few pairs of shoes over here today because I feel that it should become apparent that what people are looking for in shoe stores today, no matter what kind of brand that they're looking for, no matter what kind of shoe design they're looking for, or what kind of color scheme or kind of padding that they happen to want to get in their pair of shoes, it's dependable on a few things. But of course the big problem is that major designers out there like Nike, Adidas, Yeezys, Dockers, and 100 other brands out there, they all happen to constitute non-foot healthy products. They all happen to inhibit similar designs, but the most common type will involve something like this. Now, this is a Dockers dress shoe, and I basically brought these here today to show you what I'm talking about in terms of non-foot health related product design and placement. So, what you can tell already is that there's toe spring up here in the front because it slides upward like this, and with heel elevation in the back. That is going to allow for metatarsal head in placement, and it will cause some problems in the ankles especially. Supination and overpronation, of course, will become more common over time, but because your foot is sitting on an uneven plane and your toes are being scrunched together every day, whenever you wear dress shoes like those, it becomes a serious issue, not only to your feet and toes, but to the ankles, to the rest of the legs, and even your spine. So that right there is already a pretty bad problem. A shoe that is inflexible, squishes your toes together, and does not allow for an even platform. But it does, in fact, get worse when you switch over to more of the athletic types. So here are a pair of New Balance cleats, known as the Phantom Fit, Phantomfit. And what you can also tell is, of course, these are slightly different than the Dockers. Well, they're actually meant to be more of the athletic type, but of course the same three problems are apparent in this. The platform is uneven. The toe box is so narrow that, well, it'll become a huge problem for bunions and hammer toes. And of course, the platform is so solid you can hardly flex at all. And that, of course, is going to be a huge issue. So, of course, for people out there who happen to be playing athletics out there in sports, including American football and, well, international football, more commonly known in America as soccer, cleats like these are a huge issue. Not only to both your feet, but to both legs, to your spine, and probably to a few other parts as well. You'll more likely have yourself a lot more foot injuries along the way. And so, it is possible to have cleats that do meet the standard 3-step process that constitute foot healthy products, but they're hard to come by. And so some people out there would go as far as to try to make their own cleats using a shoe like this, Lem's Primal, which is super flexible, as you can see, but it's also super flat, has a super thin sole which can allow for very good ground feel, and can really help for natural toe splay because of how sufficiently wide the toe box itself is. And now I'm going to go ahead and move on to sandals, because of course there's people out there who happen to have the preference of more barefoot style shoes out there. Footwear of all sorts that happen to have a more barefoot-esque kind of feel to it. It's becoming more and more and more common throughout the last 15 years. And this is mostly because evolution of technology and advancements of a lot of different processes that are commonly used to make some clothing, they actually do allow for designs of most barefoot-like shoes out there to be used. And so, as far as the actual barefoot design happens to go, these Vibram 5 Fingers, which are the Trek Ascent non-insulated variants, of course, they can already conform to the human foot's exact anatomical shape, and the likes of which that its signature 5-finger toe pockets, they can already give you a great feeling of happening to be barefoot out there in the wild or anywhere else that you commonly go to. But I'd say pick these up if you're really truly wanting to experience the natural barefoot feel. But of course, the aesthetic about this that distinguishes it from others is that the 5-finger design of this is going to be very, very strange to other people out there. And it's simply because people out there have gotten used to shoes that do not have this kind of design put onto them, but much rather have a design that's like this. A design that pretty much encapsulates the entire foot without pretty much creating separated toe pockets on them. Although there are some shoes out there that do happen to have separated toe pockets while still allowing for the outside of it to appear like it's encapsulating the entire foot. So, but for sandals, which are not really Vibrams, I've got a pair of these Ozark Trails, which, quite honestly, they're actually pretty heavy. At least 2.5 pounds per sandal, which is a pretty big problem, but it's pretty justifiable considering how inflexible this thing is. And, wow, if the toe box itself already didn't explain to you how bad this kind of sandal itself is going to be, then well, anyone out there who is actually looking for sandals, then personally my recommendation would be to buy sandals from such dealers out there like Luna or Unshoes or even Zero. Their cloud sandals are sufficiently shaped and designed to give you the feeling of the real sense of being barefoot out in the wild without having to be like that. So, these are pretty much my detailed points that describe everyone's feel about how footwear happens to be a part of our daily lives. And there are plenty more people out there that are starting to go for such footwear like these two. And it's only going to continue getting bigger and bigger. But this is only because we're in a generation now where technology's changed, times have changed, in the many years of human evolution and technological advancements, but in the many decades that'll follow, up until the very end of the century, I do hope we can learn something new every time. So, that right there is just what you need to know about a simple comparison between different types of footwear and how it all can relate to how we happen to interact with each other on a daily basis. So this way we can at least find out what kind that we happen to have. And there just so happens to be a lot more things that I want to go ahead and talk about all this stuff, so I'll just leave you alone with the note here that just simply clarifies that certain types of footwear can have certain problems on them, but not all of them. And if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.